slow him down and provide ways for other teammates to get onto him. And so, even though T1's team composition was straight up and it had potential to get answered very easily by APK, APK punt away on B4, B5, and they pick two champions that thematically don't answer what T1's trying to do very well. And it's going to end up becoming the Ezreal and Azir show, but with a lot more emphasis on the Azir. And things are going to get really scary. If T1 gets ahead, it's only on cover in the Azir to somehow try to stabilize the game. There is no insurance policies on APK. Obviously, Ezreal wants to get to 4 or 5 items. Probably going to go Iceborne Gauntlet this game. That'll give him some more ability down in bot lane, but it's really scary. And I was so close to giving the draft edge to APK, but yeah. I'm you know what? Yeah. This is Tom Brady leaving the Patriots. We're gonna give the draft edge to T1.
And it does feel like that. A couple of wayward picks there towards the end, and we get to see Faker back onto the Nico. From what I remember from his Nico play, always used that passive ability very well. Better than anyone really that I have seen play on this champion. He'll always be trying to trick you by going in and out of vision, pretending to be other people. And yeah, we'll see if that works out here in this game as we're going to hop into match 50. Game number 1, SKT up against APK.
Alright, well, we'll see what kind of a start is going on here in this game.
Hey, it's Rumble.
What?
the
Rumble.
The Rumble in the mid lane. What do you mean?
What do you think of that Lulu skin?
I can't see it.
It's the Aqua Lulu. She looks like Tentacruel.
It's not the Frost
You
one?
are deprived.
Isn't that the Frost
what
one?
you are. It's totally fine. Dr. Eggman here in mid lane as an imposter against Azir. And both teams just basically did a 5-point start. No one looking to get aggressive at all or do anything too fancy. As there's Faker. Stats on Nico, 6-1, 85.7% win rate. Looking to get the 7th win here in this game number 1 between the two teams. Take a look at the runes. There's a Scorch on the Azir, Scorch as well on the Rumble. Everything else across the board looking pretty standard. We're going to have to see what itemization is elected for in terms of the Ezreal. Will he go the Iceborne or will he go the Trinity Force? Things can get pretty scary in that regard. Ultimate Hunter on the Rumble, by the way.
Yeah. He's going to be looking to cast that ultimate as much as possible. Obviously, a bit of a game changer for Rumble. And I'm just excited to see some Teddy back onto this pick. His effort goes in for a little bit of a trade, but not much else going to happen down here. Certainly Faker's Nico, Teddy's Kalista, all of these things to be highlighted. But we do have to talk about how APK has been impressing us. Actually, level 2 is going to be hit down here on the bottom side. Secret in a lot of trouble, actually. I think he's got to flash. No, he's just going to heal. Will be okay, but nicely done by T1 to get that summoner. But APK as a team have been, you know, they're, what are they, 2-7 so far? Not the best record, but it doesn't really tell the whole story of what this team has been able to accomplish and prove to us.
Right, and a lot of their games have looked much closer and cleaner than some of the other teams in LCK. And so even though their score is really struggling to look impressive, it's the manner in which they're winning and losing their games that is really most impressive. Now, obviously, a lot of that on the back of some of their very wonky drafts. They do some pretty trickster-level stuff with Ixu up there in the top lane, as well as whenever they bring in Trigger. And the AD carry role, he's played the Morgana a couple of times. And T1, I mean, here in this game, they have a really explosive mid-game team composition that's really difficult to sort of resist. And so we'll see what ends up transpiring. So far, Teddy down there on the Kalista. He has barrier. Ezreal does have teleport. So that is something that you have to keep in mind when looking at the CS charts. The camera keeps panning every which way, but not a lot is really going on. Jarvan is going to move over. He's going to get back to clearing. But T1, remember, in the points of the match, they have a weak early game as a stat. They don't tend to really make anything happen. So all that I would expect is the laners to sort of just play ping pong and go defensive, blow for blow with one another, and then eventually transition into team fights around objectives and just play it out like that.
Yeah, no need to get over aggressive here in this early game. Of course, in the LCK, the Glacial Augment is going to be the choice here for Faker on his Nico. The catch potential on that champion, of course, is pretty fun. I remember when Nico first came out, I really enjoyed playing her before she got nerfed quite a lot. And finally, she's back on the buff table, essentially, of Riot. It's fun to see. Maybe I'll pick her up again. But Faker, obviously someone who's got a decent amount of experience on this pick already. 6 and 1, I believe it was the win rate. Having a good time so far. Secret actually trying to freeze the lead. Teddy and Effort going to say no to that.
Well, Flawless is in close proximity at the drop, but this is around the time where Teddy's probably just going to shove in this last wave and then look to recall. So there shouldn't be any real gank timing. Every lane is, for the most part, going pretty even. I mean, we see Cover potentially getting solo killed here. Not quite in the end. It's going to be forced back and have to recall. Faker did already use his teleport, took a bit of damage, and also went through all 3 of his corrupting potions. And so even though he's going to be full HP... what?
Yeah, he flashed. He was really concerned about getting slowed by the missile. And so he decided, yeah, I'm just going to flash. I'm just going to play it safe.
I mean, he could wait for Jarvan to commit in order to waste more time and then flash the Jarvan flag. Because without... Rumble is never going to be able to follow up on anything there, and then potentially you have Jarvan actually share XP with Rumble. Just a very peculiar decision right there. Faker did transform into the Rumble as he was coming back into the lane. Probably not fooling anybody except for maybe Valdez.
Yeah, I got fooled for sure.
You did.
It was Dr. Eggman.
You thought
Where'd he go? I thought he was in this game.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Did you see that that new Sonic movie?
No, I never got around to seeing it. I don't think anyone goes to the movie theaters here in Korea.
Yeah, you know that's true.
Either. I imagine, I believe that CGV is the name of the major movie theater chain here in South Korea, and I believe that they are reporting super low attendance throughout the entire country.
You know, maybe now is the time to go to the movies then. Because no one's there. You can have the whole theater to yourself.
You get lucky. You sit next to the one person. You sit down first in an empty theater. A person walks in, sits right next to you out of all the empty seats, and then they cough.
Yeah. And then the Curb Your Enthusiasm song starts playing. Oh man. You know, I could actually no. Everybody here in Korea is ultra safe. Everybody's
They are. Yeah.
It's really nice. I mean, I don't leave my house anyway, so you know this whole virus I've been able to stay relatively safe because you know, Riot also set up the remote broadcast so we didn't have to leave the studio. And yeah, very safe, very healthy. Not and everybody that does have to go outside, they take all the necessary precautions. Everybody's wearing masks. Everybody's, you know, covering their coughs or whatever. And it's been really nice here in Korea.
Yeah, Korea's been really on top of everything, but doing a very, very good job at handling it basically right out the gate. And Corona, it is a really serious virus. It's actually it makes me so upset actually when I see people downplay it, or they just say that it's not that serious or it's not a big deal, and it always confuses me when that ends up happening. But Rhea doing a really fantastic job, as most people abide by all the government warnings and everything else that's sent out. So social distancing is a thing the government started recommending, I believe, last week. That started happening. People were advised not to go into work or take metro unless necessary. And other than that, everything's pretty normal.
Yeah.
Sort of like ganking top lane.
This is going to be pretty normal, I suppose. He doesn't have his flash, and it should be enough damage. The Cataclysm finally comes out. It's going to trap Flawless in here, but he's going for the kill. Is he even going to get it? I don't think he will, as Kana is going to put the missile straight into his face, as 2 kills will go the way of T1.
That's a really big victory for T1. Getting it on the Rumble, getting it on the Jarvan is really nice. And it's also happening at a timing where they're initiating a rotation to the Rift Herald. They're going to be able to get this, and they have plenty of time to convert this into turret plates and something meaningful. Rumble, he has Short Pen Boots and Oblivion Orb as his first 2 items, so he is dealing near true damage on some of the champions on the side of APK with that 33 magic penetration, and now Effort and Teddy are in close proximity to top lane. Rift Herald might just get summoned. Elam is right here with the Rift Herald. Not sure if he's actually just going to summon it right in Flawless and Ixu's face. That would be very surprising. Cover trying to move up to top lane right now as Hybrid struggling to really push in this wave. And even when he does, Rumble is right there, almost has Equalizer. And they're not going to actually summon the Herald here. So maybe Jarvan's just going to run down to bottom and summon it there. As we just take a look at the replay, Equalizer comes out, and Kana able to just do so much damage as well. As it was a nice attempt by Flawless to try to trade 1-for-1 and then maybe look for a way out.
보자.
He says, let's try to do this.
잘만해.
확인.
잡았다.
나이스. 렉사이 있고. 렉사이 노플, 렉사이 노플.
안 죽어, 안 죽었네.
전령까지 바로 하자.
No flash.
렉사이 노플이야. 나이스.
전령 시작 이거.
전령하자.
그러면 전령 시작 이거.
창동이 바텀.
Well, that was interesting. I noticed the chat box actually said 14 Rek'Sai, but it was written out completely.
Yeah,
Which
well,
is not something
I have to
I've
cut you off
seen
there.
before.
There's no dash, no flash. They're going in for this one. He is going to die. Faker baiting him into the fight, and then a rotation coming up from the bottom side. T1, once again, some really clean League of Legends today.
Well, Faker doing really good in mid lane. Now, everyone's in close proximity. They're gonna summon the Rift Herald. Most likely, when the turret plates fall. Is that gonna happen? No? Oh, yes, they are. Okay. So, Rift Herald deals true damage to the turret. You want to make sure that it hits the turret in one fell swoop and tries to give over all the plates. And then you get a second charge for it. But they don't end up actually getting it. But it's totally fine. The turret's on its last leg. It has a sliver of health remaining. And that should probably be Faker eventually picking up the final plate and the first turret gold, as 20 seconds until Infernal.
Yeah, sitting really pretty right now. Already 2,500 gold ahead. They've got their Rumble ahead with a ton of penetration up here on the top side. Ixu going to be catching up, trying to build into some magic resist to handle this guy. And then it feels like the Kalista, who's at a really clean, low action game, have a good time. You see the TP come in, and even though the root doesn't land, they still fall for the gang. And it all pans out.
Yeah. Azir doesn't have a way out. So Jarvan able to get in there. The roam from Effort able to pay off as well on the turret. He has the boots of swiftness, so he's able to run places as Infernal Dragon. Gonna go the way of T1. Kalista is gonna get 6 AD from it, so not quite a longsword. But obviously, she will get more items the longer that this game goes on. They get more base AD, things that are going to continue to ramp up. So, very nice Dragon, and T1 is rolling beautifully on Drakes right now, as Mountain is going to be the third one. And even though their champions don't tend to build a lot of resistances, Nico does get Zanya's Hourglass. Obviously, we have Tank Jarvan. Rumble as well can get Zanya's Hourglass. Mountain isn't the best third Drake for them. I would actually probably say that it's probably Infernal, but it's still better than Cloud.
Yeah, I mean, anything's better than Cloud, so having a fun time with that so far. Faker showing off the GLP really nicely and just putting that on, that aggression. Oh no, who's stuck in here with who? Flawless runs straight into the Kalista. Really unfortunate timing for them. He's gonna flash, and you can see that effort just waits for it. Really making it look effortless, to be honest. Another kill. It's gonna go their way. And how about another one here? Cover, he's trying to run away, but still no flash. Even though he does get the double dash, it is not enough to get away, as T1 are making this game look really easy.
They are making this look completely one-sided, as Faker, well, I mean Rumble, is down here in the bot lane.
Kana's going for it. Oh no, it's not Kana.
Or was it?
Nice try there, actually, on the predict with the root.
Yeah.
They are going to get the flash out of Secret, and it is Ezreal. Either way, good rotation. And really, nothing negative to say so far this game about T1.
No, this is all panning out really well so far inside of this game. T1, 3 minutes now until the Mountain Dragon comes up, as APK, you can see Ixu trying to trade really hard on Dakana, but there's no way to follow this up when you see that the other T1 members are still coming, and that's why he tried to turn around, but it ended up just being all too late, as Ixu eventually got dogged down as well by the Kalista. And right here, really good route by Faker. GLP 800 active coming out as well. And Azir, without a flash, basically had all of his options removed from him. And honestly, Cover is doing a really good job in the CS department. Really, all of the members on the side of APK are. It's just that they're really falling apart in terms of their overall management. And Flawless and Ixu just fall really far behind. Azir constantly just getting caught out, overextended inside of his lane a little bit too far. And a lot of good opportunity capture by T1 this game. And for a team that doesn't really get a lot going in the early stage, they managed to get quite a lot for themselves here.
Yeah, I mean, they're really dunking on him right now. Just every single fight is going their way. There really hasn't looked like any opportunity for APK to turn much outside of the Rek'Sai play up on the top side, but then once that goes wrong, that's when you know it's not going to be a fun game for the red team, to say the least. As Flawless going to be spotted here on the ward. That Mountain Drake coming up in a minute and a half. They are really just threatening Kana, saying get out of the lane. And he's actually going to listen just a bit until the Taric does come down. He's playing it extremely safe under turret.
Well, probably just waiting now 1 minute until the Mountain Dragon is going to end up coming up, and they'll pick that up probably right away, as it's going to be Twin Shadow's second item for Faker on the Nico. This is the second time we've seen Nico now, right? In the LCK.
Yep.
And very surprising to actually see her immediately getting picked up, because those buffs don't really stand out or scream like, yes, this is the timing to pick Nico. But obviously, a lot of other mid lane champions over the last couple of months have been hit. Champions like Aurelia not really being seen inside of the meta, although she is making a resurgence inside of solo queue with the new Blade of the Ruin King, Wit's End build. And it's surprising that Nico is coming out more and more often. More players also playing her now in solo queue, and because of her flexibility and the ability to itemize two different ways, 80 on hit as well as APK, it's an interesting champion choice, and it would be very refreshing to keep seeing new champions enter, because honestly in round 1, before we moved into round 2, the meta in LCK in particular, it was getting very stale.
Yeah, I mean, we had just a lot of the same, and I'm glad that some patches are actually changing things up, keeping it fresh. Somehow you saw Teddy backing exactly there. Teddy had to slightly move over to the side. As we have entered this mid-game, this is one of those games where you've got one team that's really far ahead, and then the other team is just desperately trying to hold on, but they can't actually fight. So they just kind of push out lanes. They don't freeze. Why would you freeze? you just sit back, you're pushing lanes, and the enemy team is slowly getting dragons and objectives, and you just feel kind of helpless, not much you can do. So, feels a little bit like that here for APK. They're not going to challenge the first Mountain Drake. Second one comes up in 4.5 minutes, and I don't know if they'll really have any ability to fight over that, but at the same time, they have to.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to. One of the things that is underappreciated here is the level advantages that are assumed to be present once the game gets to that team fight is going to be there. Currently, as it stands, you have 1 level in top lane, 1 level in jungle, and you have 1 level in AD carry. Not sure how close effort is to leveling up. And mid lane is even, but base levels is something that's really underappreciated, I think, when it comes to LoL analysis, because it's not just the extra skill point. It's all the extra HP, the extra resistances, any little bit of base damage going up. And it's a very underappreciated stat, because sometimes base HP just allows you either access to tank extra turret shots that you shouldn't have been able to, or just outright absorb other skill shots, thus invalidating maybe one team's approach to a team fight. So 3.5 minutes. We assume that T1 should be at about 2.5 items across the board, where you can see that APK, they're struggling to get their second item.
They found Flawless here in the jungle. He's trying to get away. We got Kana up against Ixu on the side. He's going to miss the chains. And now Flawless in a bit of trouble as he's desperately trying to hit that plant. He is going to flash away. Missile's going to miss, and Ixu's all alone. Where's the rest of APK? Cover's just pushing, and they say, yeah, you got caught, we can't help you out. 5-on-2, essentially, as the two of them will get cleaned up. And, yeah, I mean, T1 just able to pick up a couple more kills just like that, made it look really easy. And I wanted to point out how well Kana was doing in the weak side of the map. He was playing it so passively. Just yesterday, we saw Doran really struggling because he just kept on getting banked over and over and over, and he wasn't respecting the ability for that gangster to come out. So they're really offering nothing to APK in this game because of the way Kana is playing weak side. And now they're just going to go for the Baron here as Baker is on guard duties, desperately trying to survive here. He is going to have to flash right at the end as a steal. Can it come in? Waiting for that smite, waiting for it to get low enough, and it will go the way of T1 at the end. LM is going to have to flash over this wall, as it doesn't look like anyone on the side of APK will be able to catch up.
Baker really likes that Rumble skin as he transforms back into Rumble.
WTF, 2 Rumbles.
As you can see Ixu trying to mess with Taric, and I think that they're trying to gauge if Ixu's by himself.
Okay, they got the flash away. And at the end of the day, I mean, this is APK in time. Although I suppose the Baron timer will go down, but not so huge of a deal. TP in the mid lane, as so far, it is not a perfect game because the bottom tower did go down.
And that's exactly why I'm not impressed.
Okay.
I feel like T1 has a lot to improve on this game, as they let that turret die. As here inside of this replay, Flawless, I mean, he just gets completely collapsed on by all of the members of T1. Equalizer does end up whiffing. Flash used by Kana eventually gets him with the harpoons. And Teddy is just Vlad the Impaler this game, as he is rending everybody. As this Kalista gonna have Bloodthirster soon, 50 seconds until the next Mountain Dragon, as I really appreciate production this time having the APK overlay, because we're getting to witness T1 playing Flash, and I really hope that the round 2 opponent is a little bit strong.
This is just one-sided. I mean, there's not really much else to say about it. It's just they are rolling face over them. The APK are just like hanging out in their jungle. They think it's their jungle. It's not. You can't stand there. Oh, here comes triple Rumble. Oh, man, he funneled them up against the wall, and they're all going to get burned. I think this game is just going to end. That's going to be the end of that guy's life, and T1 are going to push to finish.
So this was an almost perfect game, Valdez. Even though Azir is coming up in 10 seconds, he doesn't have his ultimate available, I do think this is the end Faker sending out his clone to try to tank any sort of aggro. Azir coming up in 2 seconds. 8 Aatrox spawn from the fountain. They might not even try. They're just going to focus down the Nexus in what is one of the fastest games we've had in LCK in a very long time.
Yeah, absolute slaughter here. 14-0 in terms of kills. That was not close. And APK, we were, talking about how they're coming back, but I think up against T1, it's two different levels of League of Legends right now, especially with how clean